Hello, this video is meant to be a review of the Datu, which, produced by Worden, is the newest fixed-bladed knife he has out. I just leave it down here for a minute so you can reference it in size. There's the Lightning, there's the first generation Wartech folder, there's the folder, the Worden Legacy, and here's the second generation Wartech folder, the large version. Just in reference to size comparison. And as it won't even fit on the screen, here is the large fixed blade Timberline micarta handle Wartech 5. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Datu. Okay, so the Datu knife itself, once again produced as an everyday carry EDC knife, 1095 carbon steel, coated 1/8 of an inch thick, black coating obviously. The knife only weighs 3.75 ounces, which is amazingly light, yet the knife itself feels hefty and very solid. I guess that's in credit to the G10 handle and the design, very positive in the hand. I'll get more into that. 5.5 ounces overall, and that's with the sheath. The sheath being handmade again, leather. The sheath that it comes with for $110 is meant to be put on your belt in a horizontal fashion. That way you can draw it, of course, standard or reverse grip, depending on where you decide to carry it. The only other point to note, I guess, is that there is a lanyard groove in the handle. Of course, the custom design by Worden, calling it, I guess, the grooved trigger action or trigger finger action. And of course, for those of you familiar with his tools, that gives a very unique feature to the knife. The larger versions, as I just said earlier, for instance, the large version of the Generation 2 here of the Wartech folder, both a usable butt end and in this case a glass breaker. Even the smaller version, all following that same design. Very positive feel in the hand for both a saber, hammer grip, or in use as a reverse grip. Well, certainly the same can be said for the Datu. G10 handle gives it an amazing grip feel. You just simply have to hold one for yourself to see that. All numbered as well. Numbers 1 to 100 for sale right now, this one being number 48. I had to pick a couple of them up, one as a collector's item and then at least one for carry. Going to be very interested to see. I've seen a couple of sheaths from survivalsheath.com, Robert Hummelbaugh. This one just being for the small version of the Wartech. But I'm going to be very interested to see what he comes up with for the Datu, as I can see that for the boot as well as the neck being a very good carry option for that knife. Continuing on with the review of the new Datu knife, really we're going to talk about a little bit of carry options and acquisition and deployment. But the thing about that is that first of all, make a very specific point not to be teaching too much stuff in the videos, especially to do with knife stuff. Not that everybody out there watching isn't conscientious citizens, but just got to be careful with that, as it is open source material. I certainly would be happy to show a little bit, because at the end of the day, learning edged weapons techniques, the whole point of that is to defend against them better as well. So I do have the Silent Fighter here, so when I don't have a training partner, and the only one is standing behind the camera right now, as we're at home, but nonetheless, you can see that moving without openings. So if I was going to punch at someone, we know that, for instance, that's not helping me block this. But if I was to punch them with attachment or to monitor that in some way, that would be better. Well, the same thing goes for acquisition and deployment of tools. So you can imagine this person, if I was on the inside, maybe barring their arm, some fashion, moving that to the outside as well, being able to do so, learning to switch and bump them, because maybe I need a left hand, maybe I need a right hand, in this case, to draw a travel wrench, right? That type of idea. I could be pressing them or striking them, collapsing into them, and as I do so, my weapon side hand going for acquisition and deployment on a tool. Things that we've done several times, in the other videos. So, green rubber Hulk gun that we use for training, completely safe, although of course I still like to monitor the 4 safety rules, one of those being lasering, which I want to talk about next. If it was the same, remember I'm trying to get one way of doing business. One way to draw a travel wrench, one way to draw a knife, one way to draw a pistol, that same idea. For those of you who are in law enforcement, or those of you who are able to carry a firearm because you're citizens who have the legal rights to do so, if you're carrying them in that 3 o'clock or even appendix carry, anywhere on that weapon side around to the 5 or even 6 o'clock position, there's a few things to note. The same acquisition and deployment could happen. I could be right up against someone, for instance, and if I was moving and striking or covering, by the time I strike and collapse into them, my other hand will come for acquisition and deployment on the pistol. Well, by the time that happens, I could already be engaging, or even out at distance engaging, just depending on how close they are for what stance and that I can use. So the same patterning is involved in that. Well, the same things involved, if you look on my belt, is what I've done is I've put the Datu knife on there. So let me put this down and see. So in this case, it's kind of hanging out a little bit, and I've placed it so that I missed a belt loop here so that I can swing it around just for ease of showing you, but you want to keep it fairly sturdy. Nonetheless, here, profiles to my body, simply a coat or a sweater would really conceal that quite easily, or all the way around to my back could be carried in that position. You can see how this would be a draw, right, versus drawing in this fashion, which would be a reverse grip. The thing I want to note is keeping with good training. If I did have a pistol there, I would want the handle facing this way. So when I drew, I automatically swung around my body, not this way, because then I'm lasering myself, as well as a large movement. Look at my shoulder here versus here. It's already almost concealed. Stick with the same thing for your knife. If I'm to draw my knife, just looking down here, this way, you do have to be careful because of course it's to you. Now, I realize if I was bumped into a wall, pushed from the other side, in a car seat, something like that, what we have to train is the understanding to pull that and then articulate it around the body, which also, if you notice, a lot of shrugging people will do, characteristics of an armed person, right? If I don't shrug, I can pull that quite easily and still have it maintained close to my hip and body, right? Instead of dropping it down or anything like that. So these are just some things that you need to be aware of. Of course, I could have mounted it across my front here because it is small enough. With a simple jacket or sweater, it could have simply been there for a reaction side hand draw in a reverse grip, or a weapon side hand draw in a saber grip or hammer fist grip. As you may or may not know, I am slightly biased towards some of these products. I do think that the travel wrench, the safety wrench, the palm stick, the folders that Kelly's produced are very good. I certainly like this knife, which is, I guess, why I'm doing a bit of a review. To cover that again, if you can look in closer to my hand here, if it was in a standard hammer fist grip, it does hold and fit very well. Very positive there, so that the leading finger, if I was to hit something, it doesn't want to slip. It feels really sturdy in the hand. At the same time, although I have a very large hand, I can still use the bottom end of that So there's two workable ends to that knife, and that goes however I want to deal with it. Maybe I just want to hit instead of use the edged part of it. If I was to articulate it forward, you see how it fits in the palm and hand, which actually gives me a little extra reach. You can see how that might be useful in those circumstances. In reverse grip, all the better for close in, working inside of that box, just like if we were throwing elbows or something like that. Within twitch muscle range, very quick and easy, and once again, a very secure grip. So all in all, I can't wait to see, especially some of the other sheath and carry options, perhaps neck knife, perhaps in the boot, something like that made of Kydex, and we'll make sure to give an email out to Robert Hummelbaugh of survivalsheath.com. I know he's working on a few of those options right now.